Turning now to campaign 2018 local matters. Tomorrow, Pennsylvania will be holding its primaries for the midterm election. The Keystone State's Democratic governor and U.S. Senator Bob Casey are both up for re-election, but much of the focus will be on the congressional races. This year, Pennsylvania was forced to redraw its district's map after a gerrymandering case. That means the state is one to watch when it comes to Democrats' push to retake the House. Lee Herring is a government reporter for Pittsburgh's NPR station WESA and joins us now. Lee, thanks for being with us. How can the new districting help Democrats' chances to flip some seats and retake the House?
Well, what the new map issued by the state Supreme Court earlier this year does is to create more competitive districts. You'll recall that before this map was redrawn, Republicans held a strong advantage in many of these districts. Our Republican-controlled legislature drew it that way, as is standard in these cases. And with that old map, the Republicans held 13 of the state's 18 congressional districts. Under this new map, Democrats do gain some more favorable districts, and now the map has 10 of 18 districts where President Trump won. So we're looking to see some more competitive races in this round of midterms.
And in March, Republican Rick Saccone lost the special election for the 18th congressional district. Trump won that district by 20 points. So how are Republicans viewing that? Are they making any changes moving forward in 2018?
Right. So actually, what the new map does with that district is to create a stronger Republican-leaning district. Before the new map was issued, that district was one that Republicans had an 11-point advantage on average, so this is outside of just President Trump's victory. Now they have a 14-point advantage. So it's not really clear what that will mean for the Republicans, and right now we have this intra-party squabble between Rick Saccone, who people will recall from the special election against Connor Lamb, and who lost that race narrowly, and a young State Senator Guy Reschenthaler, who is saying, I am a new voice for the party, and he has the backing of a lot of establishment Republicans and outside groups. So it's hard to say at this point, but tomorrow will give an indication of what direction the Republicans might want to go in a new district like this.
And what are some of the other congressional races you're watching the most closely?
Well, sticking with the fallout from the special election, I am following the race in the 17th congressional district, which is where Connor Lamb is running uncontested in the Democratic primary, and I'm expecting a really tough fight between him and another incumbent who has represented that district, that's Republican Keith Rothfuss. And you'll recall from the special election that Lamb did have broad appeal to moderate Democrats and also Republicans. He got a strong enough crossover vote to win very narrowly in that election. So we may see similar dynamics here.
Interesting race for sure. Now, Senator Bob Casey is also up for re-election. Who are his opponents in this race, and do either stand a good shot of unseating him?
So Senator Casey is uncontested in his primary for the Democratic nomination. On the Republican side of the ticket, there are two candidates. One is U.S. Representative Lou Barletta. The other is a state representative. His name is Jim Christiana. Barletta is strongly favored to win the nomination. He's been endorsed by President Trump. He was an early backer of the president's even before the president won the Republican nomination in 2016. So he's got a high profile, being on the federal level already. He is strongly favored to win. That primary has been pretty quiet so far. Christiana has been critical of Barletta because of that, not campaigning as aggressively as you might expect him to against a sitting U.S. senator, but so far not much action there.
Now, Pennsylvania also has a gubernatorial election this November. Democratic Governor Tom Wolf is seeking re-election. How is he faring in the state, and who are his major challengers?
Governor Wolf is expected to perform well when the general election rolls around in November. Granted, that is a ways off, and who knows what could happen between now and then. But the latest polling indicates that he would have a solid advantage over any Republican contender. Within the Republican Party, there are 3 candidates vying for the nomination. First is the Republican-endorsed Scott Wagner from York County. He's a state senator, and he has been in the state legislature for 4 years now, though he still kind of casts himself as this candidate for change, saying, I've been in the legislature long enough to know what it takes to change, but I'm still new enough and critical enough that I bring that outside perspective. And then we have Laura Ellsworth and Paul Mango, both from the Pittsburgh area. Ellsworth is an attorney here, and Mango is a former healthcare consultant. And it's hard to say. There's not much polling to indicate who would be the front runner there, but Wagner does seem to have an advantage in terms of endorsements. And maybe slightly more name recognition.
Well, you just, mentioned a female candidate there. Pennsylvania has an 18-member congressional delegation and 2 sitting senators, all of whom are men, but more than 3 times the number of women filed for candidacy this year than in the 2016 House primary races. Could this be a year of the women in the Keystone State?
That's also hard to say. I know out east in the Philadelphia area, there is excitement and a lot of women candidates who are running in these primaries. Here in the western side of the state, specifically in our southwest region, there doesn't seem to be much traction for women when we think about actually winning these seats. In the 14th district, where Rick Saccone and Guy Reschenthaler are seeking the Republican nomination, there is one woman who is seeking the Democratic nomination, running against 3 other men. Her name is Bibiana Borio, and she does seem to have a real shot, but again, that's a district that really does favor Republicans, so her chances in the general probably wouldn't be the best, but that could change. Still a lot of time left. And then in Connor Lamb's district, as I said, he's running against Keith Rothfuss, so no real prospect for a woman there. There had been some women running for the Democratic nomination in that race, but they and 2 other men bowed out to unify behind Congressman Lamb. And then there is one other district we keep an eye on, just due to its vicinity to us, and that is the 18th, where Mike Doyle, the Democrat, is a longtime incumbent. He is facing a primary challenger, but given his popularity and name recognition, she's unlikely to fare very well in that primary.
All right. Well, Ann Lee Herring in Pittsburgh, thank you for your time.
Thank you.